When they said you couldn't, they weren't just doubting your dream. They were betting against your spirit. And that's the thing about doubt. It doesn't come from what you lack. It comes from what others fear you might become. They see your potential, and instead of lifting you up, they try to weigh you down. Maybe they said you weren't smart enough. Maybe they told you your background disqualified you, that your skin, your accent, your zip code, your past qualified you. Maybe they looked at you and only saw statistics, but you're not a number, you're not a label, you are the author of your own story. I've seen what happens when ordinary people decide to believe in themselves. I've seen what can happen when you work hard, not because it guarantees success, but because you understand that success isn't given, it's earned. It's forged in quiet mornings when no one is watching. It's built in late nights when giving up would be easier. When you rise up, not in anger but in determination. When you answer there "you can't" with your "watch me," that's when things begin to change. Not just for you, but for everyone who's ever been told to sit down and stay quiet. This is your moment, not because someone handed it to you, but because you stood up and claimed it. You are the proof that progress is possible, that hard work still matters, that faith, grit, and resilience can carry us further than fear ever could. So let them talk, let them doubt, let them whisper and wonder, and then let your actions speak so loudly that their words no longer matter. Let your courage shine so brightly that the shadows of their disbelief disappear. You don't have to yell. You don't have to fight fire with fire. Just keep showing up. Keep pushing forward. And one day, they'll say, "We never saw it coming." And you'll say, "I did." Because you knew all along they said you couldn't. But now, here you are. When people tell you that you can't do something, it often has less to do with your actual ability and more to do with their own fear. Fear of change, fear of being left behind, fear of what your success might mean for them. Doubt is rarely about facts. It's about discomfort. It's about the uncertainty that arises when someone sees you aiming higher than they ever dared. That discomfort can show up as criticism, rejection, or silence, and it can make you question yourself before you've even had the chance to try. The truth is, many people are more comfortable when others stay in their place. They prefer the familiar hierarchy, the unspoken rules about who belongs where and what's possible for whom. When you step outside that structure, when you aim higher than what's been expected of you, you disturb the order they've accepted. And sometimes, rather than confront their own limitations, they'll project them onto you. This is why it's so important to recognize doubt for what it really is. It's not a verdict. It's not a prophecy. It's just noise, often coming from people who couldn't see greatness in themselves, and so they struggle to see it in others. But your life doesn't have to be limited by what someone else failed to imagine. You don't have to carry their fear as your own. You have your own voice, your own instincts, and your own path to follow. When they say you can't, they're really saying asterisk they don't believe they could. Asterisk that's not your burden. Your job is not to make them comfortable. Your job is to trust that your ambition has value, your vision has purpose, and your potential is real, even when it hasn't been proven yet. Especially then, because the people who change the world are often the ones who were doubted the most in the beginning. So let their doubt remind you that you're on a path they haven't walked. Let it sharpen your focus, not shrink your dreams. And above all, understand this: the limits they place on you say more about them than they ever will about you. You are not your background. You are not your neighborhood, your family's income, your past mistakes, or the circumstances you were born into. All of those things may shape you, but they do not define you. Too often, people are judged before they've even had a chance to speak for themselves, judged by where they came from, by how they look, by what school they went to or didn't go to. And when people make assumptions like that, they're not seeing the person in front of them. They're seeing a stereotype, a box, a ceiling, but you are more than that. Your future isn't something written by someone else's pen. It's something you write every day through your choices, your effort, your mindset. Yes, it may be harder for you than it is for someone who had more resources, more support, or more opportunity handed to them. That's real, but difficulty doesn't mean defeat. What matters isn't whether your path is smooth, it's whether you're willing to keep walking, even when it's uphill. And sometimes it's the very things that people think disqualify you that actually make you stronger. Growing up without much may have taught you how to solve problems with creativity and grit. Being underestimated may have taught you to outwork everyone in the room, carrying the weight of expectations, or the absence of them, might have given you a resilience others haven't had to build. Those are not weaknesses. They are strengths forged under pressure. You don't need a perfect history to create a powerful future. Every person who has ever done something extraordinary started out as someone ordinary, someone who decided not to let their past or their profile define the limits of their potential. The world doesn't get to decide who you are. And neither does your history. So when they try to use your background as a reason you can't succeed, remember that they're missing the point entirely. What matters most is where you're going, not where you started. What matters is not what they see, but what you choose to believe about yourself. Success is not something that just falls into your lap. It's not a lottery ticket, not a stroke of luck, and definitely not a gift handed out to the chosen few. Success is earned, day by day, task by task, decision by decision. It's built in the early mornings when no one else is awake, in the long nights when no one is watching, in the quiet moments when quitting would be easier, but you choose to keep going anyway. Behind every achievement that looks effortless is a mountain of effort that no one sees. People might only notice the award, the title, the moment of glory, but they don't see the hours spent practicing, learning, failing, adjusting. They don't see the self-doubt that had to be overcome, the sacrifices made, or the times when you showed up even when you didn't feel ready. That's where the real work is done, not in the spotlight, but in the preparation. Not in the applause, but in the discipline. And discipline is the key, because motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll feel fired up and confident, and other days you'll feel drained or uncertain. But the people who succeed are the ones who don't wait to feel inspired to take action. They get up and do the work, regardless of how they feel. They build habits, routines, and mindsets that carry them through the low points. Sometimes the biggest challenge isn't the task itself. It's staying committed when progress feels slow or invisible. You might not see results for weeks, months, even years, but that doesn't mean the work is wasted. Every bit of effort adds up. Every page read, every step taken, every hour put in is a brick laid on the path to something greater. And while it might not be obvious right away, eventually those small steps turn into something real, something lasting. You have to believe that what you're doing matters, even if no one else claps for you, even if no one else understands your vision. Because success isn't just about proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you were right to believe. It's about showing up again and again until the results catch up with the effort. So no, success isn't given, it's earned, and every drop of sweat, every quiet moment of persistence is an investment in the future you're building with your own two hands. There's a quiet kind of power in staying focused when others are loud with their doubt. You don't need to shout to make your presence known. You don't need to argue with every critic or prove yourself with every step. Sometimes the strongest answer to skepticism is simply to keep moving forward, with intention, with purpose, and with belief in yourself. Self-belief is not arrogance. It's not pretending to have all the answers or ignoring your flaws. It's the quiet conviction that you are capable, that you can grow, that you are worthy of striving for something better. That belief doesn't have to be loud to be strong. In fact, some of the most powerful people carry their confidence in silence. They don't seek validation at every turn because they've already given it to themselves. Criticism is easy, doubt is cheap. It costs nothing for someone to tell you that you're not good enough, but building something, changing something, becoming something, that takes real effort. And while the world can be noisy with opinions, you have the right, and the responsibility, to choose which voices you let in. You can acknowledge feedback without internalizing negativity. You can accept growth without accepting limits. It's tempting, sometimes, to want to respond to every doubter, to defend your choices, to make people see what you see. But the truth is, you don't have to convince everyone. Your job isn't to win over the crowd, it's to stay true to your course. In the end, results speak louder than any argument ever could. Progress speaks, consistency speaks, success speaks. And when your results begin to show, the same people who once questioned you will fall silent, not because you told them off, but because you proved them wrong through action, not words. Staying steady in the face of noise requires courage. It takes strength to keep believing in yourself when others don't. But the longer you hold your ground, the stronger your foundation becomes. And over time, that quiet determination becomes your greatest ally. Not because it draws attention, but because it cannot be shaken by it. So when the voices around you get loud, stay focused. Keep your head down, your heart steady, and your hands working. Because true strength doesn't have to yell. It shows up every day and lets the work do the talking. When you rise above doubt and push forward, you're not just changing your own life. You're lighting the way for others. Every time you choose not to give up, even when it would be easier to walk away, you are creating an example. You're showing someone else, may be someone watching quietly from the sidelines, that it's possible, that they can do it too. Whether you realize it or not, someone is always watching your journey and finding the courage to start their own because you didn't quit yours. The impact of perseverance ripples outward. Maybe it's a younger sibling who sees you working hard despite the odds. Maybe it's a classmate, a colleague, a neighbor, someone who, like you, has been told they don't belong, that they won't make it. When you refuse to be defined by doubt, you challenge a narrative that's held people back for generations. And in doing so, you begin to break cycles. You start creating new standards, not just for yourself, but for everyone who shares your story, your struggle, your hopes. It's easy to think of success as a solitary goal, something you earn and enjoy on your own. But the truth is, your success gives permission to others. It tells them, yes, someone like you can do this. And that message is powerful. In a world where people are constantly told to shrink, to stay in their place, to lower their expectations, your example can be the spark that helps someone else rise. Sometimes all it takes is one person breaking through to show others that the wall wasn't as strong as it looked. You don't need a platform to inspire people. You don't need to be famous or wealthy or in the spotlight. Just by being resilient, by showing up when it's hard, by staying true to your goals, you're creating a story that speaks louder than words. A story that says your beginnings don't determine your endings and the world's doubts don't get to set your limits. And the beautiful thing is, inspiration is contagious. Once someone sees that you could do it, they start to believe that maybe they can too. And when they do, they pass that belief on to the next person and the next. That's how real change starts. One person standing tall, then another and another, until what once felt impossible becomes a path others can follow. Let your achievements speak. Let your effort, your growth, your resilience become the answer to every person who said you weren't enough. You don't have to argue. You don't have to explain. You don't even have to say a word. Just keep doing the work. Keep showing up. Keep rising. Because success is the loudest response you can give to those who doubted you. There will always be people who try to write your story before you've had the chance to pick up the pen. They'll tell you who you are, what you're capable of, and what you're not. But those people don't know your heart. They don't know the depth of your determination. They can't see the late nights, the quiet sacrifices, the unshakable belief that keeps you going even when it's hard. That belief is your fire, and no one else can extinguish it unless you let them. When you achieve the goals they said were out of reach, when you rise into spaces they said weren't meant for you, when you become the person they said you never could be, you don't have to say, "I told you so." You already said it, with your actions, with your growth, with your victory, and what's more powerful than proving others wrong is proving yourself right, proving that the voice inside you, the one that whispered "keep going" when things got tough, was worth listening to all along. That's the voice that will carry you further than any praise or approval ever could. That's the voice that will continue to guide you, even when new challenges come. So don't get distracted by the noise. Don't let small minds pull you from a big destiny. Just stay the course, because with every step you take, with every barrier you break, you're showing the world that the greatest power you have is the one they underestimated, your refusal to be defined by doubt. They said you couldn't, now show them you can. Show them with the life you build, the work you do, and the courage you live by. And when they finally see what you've done, when they see what was possible all along, don't wait for applause. Just smile, keep walking, and get ready to do it all again.